Our MemoMap topics today is about the cell transport and cell membrane. Well, we know that the cell membrane is a lipid. Accordingly, it could transport the lipid soluble but not water soluble. The main function of the cell membrane is to separate the extracellular fluid from the intracellular fluid, keep the sodium high extra, and keep the potassium high intracellular. Cell membrane is also responsible for transporting of ion and molecule, either through the membrane layer or through the protein. Protein could be classified into channel, which is either to be non-gated or gated, and for the gated, either to be ligand gate, open with the ligand, or voltage gate, open with the potential or voltage changes, and the other type of protein is the carrier. Now let's talk about the transportation, which are three types. Each of them is classified into two subtypes: the vesicular with the vesicle formation, the active with energy diffusion from high to the low. For the vesicular transportation is classified into exocytosis outside the cell, endocytosis to inside the cell. The exocytosis is classified into two types: the constitutive and regulated, while the endocytosis is classified into pinocytosis and phagocytosis. The active transportation is classified into primary and secondary, and the diffusion is classified into sample and facilitated. And now let's talk about diffusion and active transport. When we compare diffusion with an active transport, the diffusion occurs along the concentration, meanwhile the active again is the concentration. The diffusion need no ATP, while the active need ATP. And the diffusion occurs through either the membrane, the channel, or a carrier. And for the carrier, we call it a facilitated diffusion. Meanwhile, the active need only a carrier. Remember that for the carrier, the transport stop with a saturation, not with an equilibrium. Regarding the ATP with inactive transport, the ATP provide the energy directly, so this is a primary active. But if it's indirect, this is the secondary active transportation. And now let's talk about one type of diffusion, which is water diffusion, or the movement of the water molecule from the area of a high concentration of the water to area of the low concentration of the water. And this is called an osmosis. And for the osmosis to stop, we need to apply an osmotic pressure to the area or to the side which has a high molecule, not water, and the osmotic pressure is dependent on the numbers of the ion molecules. So, according to the number of the ion molecule, we have either an osmolarity or an osmolarity. If we are talking about the number of osmol or molecule on 1 liter, this is osmolarity. But if we talk about the number of osmol in 1 kilogram of water, this is an osmolarity. For the osmolarity, which is more important, the extracellular fluid osmolarity equal to that of intracellular and both equal 3000 osmol. And this is an important. If we are going to give a solution from outside, it's important to compare the osmolarity of the solution with that of the plasma. And this is called atonicity. So if the solution osmolarity equal to that of the plasma, we call the solution isotonic, and this keeps the RBCs or any cell normal. But if it is less in osmolarity than the plasma, this is a hypotonic solution and it causes a ruptures of the cell. But if it is higher in osmolarity than the plasma, this is a hypertonic, and this causes a shrink of the cell because it takes the water out of the cell. That's all for MemoMap of cell transport. Membrane is a lipid. The passage occurs through membrane channel or carrier, and transportation either to be vesicular active or a diffusion.